Hey everybody, welcome back to a very special episode of the Sports Plug. Today we are actually broadcasting live for the first time on Twitch. So if you are a Twitch member or Twitch subscriber, please make sure you go to the Sports Plug. Let me go ahead and put that down for you guys. Go ahead and put that on like I said, the Sports Plug on Twitch. We are broadcasting live for the first time on Twitch, and my cousin that is joining me today, the main guy in charge of the Brick Squad, Jordan Briggs, be joining me today to help kick off this once in a lifetime debut of Twitch on the Sports Plug. So I appreciate you, Jordan. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good, and I'm just appreciative that I'm a part of history right now. First Twitch Live, let's make it good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate that shout out because, like you said, we have the debut on Twitch today, and what better off to kick it off on Twitch was to talk about the NBA tip off because that's what we're here to do, and is talk about the NBA and also the from the off season acquisitions to the now on court acquisitions or transitions that are going on the court from East Coast to West Coast, from the Nets to the Lakers. Let's go ahead and I guess start off with the first game of one of the first games of the season with the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes. I feel like as far as man, honestly, as far as acquisitions, as far as I guess adding people to teams and things changing, the Nets is like the first team we have to talk about because they added Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And honestly, man, I'm surprised how good Kevin Durant looks so early. I know he had the extra 6 additional months off because he didn't join the bubble, but I was expecting like 70 to 80% KD. It looks like we got 90 to 95% KD already. So, and Kyrie, he looks good. And I'm starting to think that if he ever has a guy like a KD or a LeBron with him, he could just focus in on that scoring. He could do him, and they look a lot better. They look ahead of schedule, in my opinion. So.
You really think we're seeing a 90 to 95% KD already? I don't even think we see that high of KD just yet.
Really, I see the burst, man. Honestly, maybe
No, I
maybe
think about
95,
85%. No, about 85%.
85%.
Yeah, it's not. We're not in the 90s just yet.
You're probably right. Either way, though, he looks a lot better than I thought. I was
Yes,
really
I agree on
expecting,
that part.
yeah, I was expecting rustiness. I was expecting some stiffness. For the most part, I mean, it looked like he just played the playoff series 2 years ago, last month when I watched him. So he passes the eye test.
And I don't know about all that again. I think if you guys are forgetting how good KD really is. KD is an assassin on the court, and I know he looks good now, but let's just wait and see how he looks after 30 games and how he looks after 60 games
Okay.
because he's going to look even better. If you think he looks good now, he's going to look even better after 60 games. And I will say this: I am very worried and very scared.
Word.
If I'm anybody on that Eastern Conference and KD looks like this at 85%, oh my goodness. Just
Right?
imagine just imagine how he'll look when he's 100% and him and Kyrie are actually able to play together without having health issues, and maybe they can make a run at a finals run in the Eastern Conference.
Right. And I hear that. I do have some questions, though. I do want to see the matchup against Toronto, matchup against Philly, matchup against Miami. Some teams that have like some more length, some more defensive some more defensive strengths and stuff like that with some good coaches. Nick Nurse, Brad Stevens, Doc Rivers. I hope they can all make adjustments and they have the right personnel that really match up against them. So, like you said, we'll see as the season goes on. But I feel like it's just so good seeing Kevin Durant, even whatever percentage he is, back in the league and just playing and doing what he does. Man, he makes pull up jumpers look like layups, and it's good to have him back healthy.
Look like layups is an understatement, and like we said before, this is our first stream on Twitch. So if you are on Twitch, make sure you go ahead and subscribe the Sports Plug
Yes.
on Twitch. This is our first broadcast, and like you said, Jordan, besides the Nets, on the Eastern Conference, you said you brought up the Heat.
Yes.
Do we look at the Heat as pretenders or contenders this year? Because a lot of people feel like the Miami Heat's run last year was a fluke due to the bubble.
Right. It's
So,
crazy. Yeah.
how do we feel about the Miami Heat and year two with Jimmy Butler? Do we feel like they can make another run at it and it's not a fluke?
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you. It's crazy that you say that because honestly, I think in recent memory, the Miami Heat have to be the most disrespected defending Eastern Conference champions that I can think of in recent history. Man, it's just like
Maybe
you said.
besides the Pistons back in the day.
Yeah, like you said, it's been a minute though. It's been a while,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, they competed against the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals. They represented the East last year, and honestly, I don't hear a lot of people talking about them going back and defending that crown. I hear a lot
Or
of Brooklyn.
I think I kind of missed a couple of years as well. We can also go back to last year's Eastern Conference Finals champions when the Raptors, or 2 years ago, I'm sorry, when the Raptors won. Nobody thought the Raptors would do it again
True.
too.
But
I
no
mean,
major roster changes. Core is intact.
yeah. That's the part I think that you're speaking upon is
Yeah,
having the whole core come back without
right,
missing anybody. Yes, I agree on that
right.
part as well.
Yeah, and the core is intact. And honestly, I don't blame people, but I do feel like people are underrating the Miami Heat because I feel like with Jimmy Butler and with Eric Spoelstra and just the personnel they have, Duncan Robinson looked like he's getting a little bit better. Just the other night, he had 6 threes in the first half. Tyler
Yes. I was
Hero,
going to speak about that as well. Yes.
yeah, Bam Adebayo, he's a young, amazing prospect. Tremendous length, great defensive player already. I feel like there could be a team that by the time the playoffs do start around in June, they're going to be right there ready again. And Jimmy and them are going to be right there ready again. They're a team that I don't want to base too early off in the season. Because just like the Lakers played all the way up until November, same October, same with Miami. So,
It'll be very interesting to see what happens on the Eastern Conference just because there's just so much movement on that side. The Eastern Conference has been able to produce three different teams now in the finals the
yeah.
last 3 years, and it seems like ever since, of course, LeBron has left the East, it seems like it's a lot more wide open. Correct? So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are looking as well with these Nets, like we talked about before. With this could be your opportunity to be able to have the year run the same way Jimmy just did with the Heat and Kawhi did with the Raptors. So if not the Nets, who's the other team that maybe could be on the lookout for winning the Eastern Conference?
Right, man. Like I said, obviously I would pick Nets to be the favorite. That's who I would pick. But I still feel like you have to put Milwaukee in the mix because you have the two-time defending MVP who could contend for being the first player to win it 3 times in a row since Larry Bird, like 30 years ago. So I feel like you still have him. They added Drew Holiday, which I do feel like is a slight upgrade over Eric Bledsoe. And the core is still intact. So, I mean, you got to throw them in the mix. Philly. I do want to see how they look with Doc Rivers. I want to see how he works the situation out with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And I feel like if they can get the right matchup and they can be healthy at the right time, like you said, the East is kind of up for sale ever since LeBron left. There's no juggernaut so far. So I feel like if they ever get the right matchup, they can still compete for a title as well. And I could be biased.
What about the Boston Celtics? Are we kind of just throwing away the Boston
No,
Celtics?
yeah, I'm not a big Boston Celtics believer, man. I feel like they're lacking some dog, and they just don't have a. I don't think Tatum is what everybody needs him to be just yet. Therefore, they're a solid roster of good guys, but they don't have a guy they could depend on to win them playoff series when it matters, and because of that, they're handicapped.
And I definitely understand where you're coming from. I think, to be honest with you, I think they have the dog. The dog is Jaylen Brown.
But
The
he's not a good
dog.
player, though.
That's what I was gonna say. The best player is Tatum. But the thing about Tatum, and I'm a Duke guy, I love Tatum. He's just not consistent. And I need to see more consistency from Tatum for me to put him up there with these other guys that are in the same draft class, of course, that came out of, and also these young up and coming stars that everybody wants to compare everybody to. If Tatum wants to be in that mix, same way with Kuzma. I'm not a big Kuzma fan as well. I think
Right.
Kyle Kuzma is living off of everybody else's success around him. that covers up his lack of success. And Kuzma this year, and I'm just speaking about this for a little bit before we get into the Western Conference side of things. He even said himself he doesn't even know his role on this team yet when it comes to on the court. I don't know if he said it jokingly or if he said it seriously, but for you to say that, it scares me. Even though he did just sign an extension with the Lakers,
Yeah.
we all know he just signed a 4-year deal, $40 million. He could have signed probably more elsewhere, but he knows where it's about here in LA. He can win a couple more rings and be a part of LeBron's legacy, or he can go and make a lot of money elsewhere and not, be a part of the things that he's about to be a part of. So I think it was a smart move by him, but I'm a person that honestly feel like we should have took Tatum over Lonzo Ball from the get go. Because
Right.
if we
Okay.
had Tatum, if we had a killer when it comes to an actual shooter, that'll be, and somebody that's not scared to take certain shots and make them. I'm not saying Kuzma can't, but I'm just talking about the same draft class with Lonzo. Lonzo was never a scorer. He was of course a facilitator, same way like his little brother.
Right.
So for us, even though people probably are, it was the whole, of course, Lamar Ball situation. Besides that, I know a lot of people probably didn't want another version of Kobe at that time. And that's understandable because that's what Jason Tatum kind of is. He idolizes Kobe. He looked up to Kobe, and he kind of plays his game like Kobe. If you kind of look at it, right? And I can understand why it probably wouldn't be a good fit for us at the time. But looking back on things, I just wish we had Tatum, LeBron, and AD, and I feel like we'd be even a even bigger threat in the NBA.
And honestly, no. I mean that's actually a really good hypothetical. You also too got to look back at it at that time in that draft as well. You got to understand they had just took Ingram, other Duke, small forward, 2 years prior, and he was
Of
still
course,
a
of course.
really young.
Trust me, I remember, but I wasn't. I'm not. I'm still not sold on Ingram. I mean,
Oh, okay,
people could. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that too.
okay.
Everybody lucky trying to bring up Ingram like he's the second coming to KD, and he's not.
I mean, he's not the second coming to Kevin Durant, no, but there's no other Kevin Durant. But I think Brandon Ingram, I would take him over. I would take him over Jason Tatum. I would take him over. That's a hot take. I wish I had a horn, but I don't. But
We'll
yeah,
drop DJ Clue bombs on him. Pew
yeah.
pew pew. Yeah. Nah, you right. You right.
Yeah,
Air horn. Nah, I feel you.
basically. But yeah, I would take Ingram. I just feel like what separates Ingram from Jason Tatum is like you said, Tatum. He does like his game after Kobe, but I feel like we need to understand he may be more Paul George than Kobe in the sense that like he's continues to be an inconsistent finisher at the rim, but he's good at making great mid range shots. He has good separation moves, but he doesn't have that burst, and I feel like that's why he struggles with consistency. To be honest, just looking at it from a basketball standpoint.
Nah, I definitely understand where you're coming from. You are the basketball guy of the family, and I definitely respect your basketball mindset. I can definitely see some Paul George in him, except for off the court. Hopefully, he doesn't. He's not doing any Paul George stuff off the court.
Paul George is better than intangibles.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah. I mean, and he plays for a franchise that actually has a winning tradition and all that good stuff. So that can help, mold him into a better person.
Yeah.
Because it's a thing. It seriously is a thing. When you're with certain franchises in all sports, when you're able to be a part of that winning tradition, it definitely does. It makes your mindset look differently upon things compared to playing for a losing franchise, right?
No, definitely does. Like you said, that ring culture will rub off on him, and he's a great defensive player. He's a solid player. I just don't know, like you said, if he can. He's going to need to show more consistency, like you said. If he wants to be considered in that next bracket. There's already some younger prospects that I would take their upside over him already, like Trae Young or Zion or Luka.
Definitely understand. And let's go ahead and talk about the Western Conference right quick, since we have dibbled and dabbled with a couple of players we talked about with the West. Let's start right here with our own hometown team, Houston Rockets. They're going through some ups and downs right now with their star player James Harden. Quick question: will James Harden be a part of the Rockets by a trade deadline this year?
Honestly, I don't think James Harden is going to make it past MLK Day. I think I believe that's January 18th. He's gonna be gone by then. I don't know where he's gonna be. It's it's kind of tricky because you look at it and there's not a lot of good fits for him. You know what I'm saying? But just last night,
That's why I see it so hard for anybody to trade for him right now because some of the teams that he's trying to get traded to is like I don't
unrealistic. It
know.
just can't happen. It just can't happen. It's unrealistic. But he wants to go, and I feel like yesterday kind of reminded teams, look, out of shape James Harden just dropped 44 and 17 in his sleep last night, tied to his career high for assists in a game. So he's still valuable. I feel like it's going to make teams like Boston, who are now maybe starting to feel like they're starting to slip out that contention, like, okay, we were on course, but now we're trying to like lose that talent battle. Let's go ahead and take that risk and go ahead and try to get Harden. Maybe in a
Now, do you feel like Harden going from Houston to Boston be beneficial for Harden or put so much more pressure on him that he might crack? Because let's be real, playing in Houston and playing in Boston are two different types of cities when it comes to expectations.
Right. No, that's very true. And I think he wants it now because he just wants to be out of Houston. His preferred list keeps getting bigger and bigger. So, but
Do you think he can do the Kyrie situation where he come to Boston for a couple years and then get up out of there?
no, that's definitely what it will be if those first 2 years a finals appearance or a title doesn't come out of it. Like you said, it will probably be almost exactly like the Kyrie Irving situation. But I feel like a player like him, if they can keep Tatum, maybe they'll have to give him Kemba. You know what I'm saying, and hopefully Brown, or maybe Brown too. I feel like that could give him a boost because, like you said, Brooklyn's back, Milwaukee's back, and the upside that Boston had 2 years ago is not looking as upside-ish now. It's kind of starting to look like they are what they are. So, they need a little change.
All right, so if we have if there been a couple of teams to come out and say they would actually be trade partners with the Rockets,
Yeah.
a team recently come out with Denver Nuggets and said that they might have put together a trade package for Harden. Is there a team that you feel like, because we just said it's kind of hard trying to pair him with another team just because of his playing style? Not that it's a bad playing style, it's just that it takes a lot of the offense away from everybody else and kind of puts it on him. And that could be, good, 44 and 17, or it also could be bad where you come into a team that wants to move the ball around and all of a sudden you got people sitting around and, waiting for you to pass the ball up. So the Denver Nuggets could be something that could work. It could mess up. I think the Celtics could be one of those situations where it could mess up things. Who knows? Maybe he can go to the Knicks, and all of a sudden the Knicks are a serious like 6-5 seed in the East because they might need somebody that could be an extra scorer. And then all of a sudden you got some. Then now all of a sudden you got some. Some limelight in the New York area now when it comes to the Knicks and the Nets. It could be one of those things. Again where Harden gets what he wants. He gets his money, his limelight, and no expectations of winning.
I mean, I feel like that's a good scenario too. Like I know Houston wants, like you said, I know they want a star for star, but in a situation like this, I feel like they do have to look at, okay, if we lose Harden, let's try to get a rebuilding situation. And there's teams like the Knicks, there's teams like the Nuggets where, okay, give us some of your young players. I'll take Bobo, future first, and Michael Porter Jr. You know what I'm saying, and maybe a rotational guy with an expiring contract for James Harden if he truly wants to be out, and you know what I'm saying. So, or like you said, send him to New York, and maybe get some draft picks, Mitchell Robinson, R.J. Barrett. Like you said, it's a lot of possibilities. I just feel like he's so headstrong on leaving that it's going to get done.
No, I definitely agree because sooner or later it's going to start oozing into the locker room. It's going to get toxic, and
Right.
it's going to mess up the rest of what they got going on in Houston because you have a young piece with Christian Wood, and
Yes.
you have some pieces that can help for the future, like John Wall and Boogie Cousins. But if you let James Harden mess up what you have here, you never know what this flower can bloom into. So you might want to get the weed, which is James Harden, out of your gardens a lot sooner than later. You like, I did that there, huh? So with that being said, besides the Rockets, let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks right quick. Do we take them as serious contenders with maybe
no.
challenging for top 3, top 4 in the West?
No, actually, it's so crazy because I made my preseason pick for Luka to be the MVP.
Hmm.
Wasn't comfortable with the pick because I'm starting to feel like now maybe Dallas is just not where they need to be all the way roster wise. I feel like they may struggle this season a little bit more because
Hmm.
I feel like the roster got a little bit worse. They lost Seth Curry without any meaningful addition. Chris Stapps will not be back again now. They're saying until January, but now we have to start questioning: is Chris Stapps just an
It's
injury
his
play?
durability. Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to get to that point now where it's just like he just may be just damaged goods. 7'3" injury prone guys don't tend to get less injury prone as they get older. So that's concerning. They look like they haven't added no more 3D guys to cover up for Luka's defensive weaknesses and stuff. So he's a great player, a great young prospect. And Dallas is interesting. UCA kind of anointed them by giving them the primetime game against LeBron and the Lakers, which I thought was an interesting matchup, a mistake. But that's another topic for another day.
Well,
But
I definitely remember my dad speaking about it over the Christmas time to, get together, saying that the league is trying to give. I'm sorry, the league and whatnot trying to give, I guess, the center of attention from LeBron to Luka when he
right,
retires, which I don't
right,
really think so, and I really don't agree just yet. I think it's one of those things where it's because of Luca with the attraction that he's brought from overseas and all that stuff like that, and because of his actual good play, it's helping Luca get to where he's at. I don't think he's taking over the league just yet, but because projection wise, if you look at numbers and all that stuff, it is on par with LeBron, especially triple doubles and all that good stuff, right? So let me go ahead and get to my Twitch stream followers right quick. Shout out to Wiesenthal on Twitch. He says, "Hey man, just hosted your channel. I appreciate that, Weezy. And if you are checking out on Twitch, go ahead and follow my boy Wiesenthal on there so y'all can check out his streams. He hosts different video games groups and whatnot where they actually play, and he actually of course hosts the games. It's pretty cool. I've watched them from time to time, and can't wait to check him out. Check out some more of his gameplay. He says, "Can I get your thoughts on the Rockets with Harden and Woods?" It's funny he just asked that because we literally just talked about that. Sorry for tuning in a little bit late, but we will recap for you, Weezy, because you are checking everything out. So we'll go ahead and talk about Harden and Woods for you right quick one more time. Jordan, you want to recap from my
oh
boy?
yeah, man. Honestly, I mean, we were more talking about the fact that Harden he's going to get sent somewhere anyway. But as far as how they look together on the court, I feel like they have amazing potential actually, and I feel like that's the frustrating part of the fact that James Harden doesn't want to see this through. But Woods looks great. He looks like a guy that he said that we drafted who was a diamond in the rough. And Harden, he's one of the best playmakers in the league. He's setting him up for easy baskets. And like I said, I feel like if they stay them together, it's something that could be interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much on Strip Club Harden because I'm pretty sure he's eating some good, delicious wings right now at the strip
No, he
club. But
definitely is.
I'll speak more of Woods. When it comes to Woods, not just him, but anybody that plays in Detroit. It seems like anybody that plays in Detroit, they're not as good at the time just because Detroit is Detroit until they finally leave and get up out of there and they actually like, oh man, this guy's a good player. Like, yeah, he always was a good player just playing for Detroit. So with Christian Woods, of course, I think the Rockets found him definitely a nice steal. And if they want to, me and Jordan just talked about this before, if they want to build off of this young core, then they have to make a move from Harden and go ahead and start over. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have to go ahead and start over to be able to move forward and progress with any franchise in any sport. And that's okay because Harden gave y'all some great memories, great scoring, scoring titles, just didn't come up with the championships. So with that being said, I feel like Rockets fans, yeah, it's time to rip that Band-Aid off and move along and look forward to the 2020s as in this next decade because Harden is just he's past his peak. I think he's starting to. I don't want to say this after he just put a 44 and 17. That's
Right,
wrong for me to say.
right.
He's a great player. He's going to continue to be great, but I feel like his best years are behind him. That's the
Right.
best way I want
This
to
is
say it.
peak James Harden. He's not going, like you said, he's not going to get any better. He's at the plateau, and he's 31, 32 in the middle of his prime. This is what we're going to get from him. And honestly, like you said, it's kind of like a relationship. Sometimes things just run their course, and I don't think it's necessarily nothing to do with James Harden. I feel like he's going to continue to be a great player for the next 5 to 4 years. I feel like the Rockets, they did whatever they could. It's just that their time is done. It's just they just done and did. There's nothing more to explore, and it's time to move on. Both teams. Look at New Orleans, growing to a superstar, right? Anthony Davis. Look how quickly the fan base in the city was able to turn around because now they have
because they got Zion. Because they was able to get of course get the lottery pick and get Zion, and of course that's easy to say, but I'll say this as well. It is easy to say when you have an owner to actually give a damn, right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at New York Knicks, they've won championships, but the reason why they've sucked for so long over the last 40 years is because their owner, from what it seems like on the outside looking in, don't give a damn to actually put a little bit more effort into winning. They have the Mecca, they have Madison Square Garden, so it's not like they don't have, a spot where people want to come and play basketball. New York is New York when it comes to basketball. So it's not that. It's just more of the ownership. And I look around the league and the NBA, and it's most of the time it is that. With this situation with Harden, it's definitely not Tillman Fertitta. They pretty much in cahoots with each other. They buddies. But I think sooner or later, like you said, Jordan, I think this relationship is running its course. Yeah. And Tillman Fertitta is a guy that wants to win now rather than later. And like you said, I think by MLK, who knows? Maybe Harden might be gone. But we'll do this every week. Jordan can join me. We're going to definitely keep this a weekly thing where we talk about the NBA on a week-to-week basis, some of the best games, best highlights. Be about 30-minute talk. We'll have, of course, on Facebook, YouTube, and now on Twitch. And again, I just wanted to do this for our first time on Twitch because I wanted to see how everything ran. And it seems like everything's gonna run good. And appreciate you again. Weezy says thanks for the insight, good sir. We appreciate you for tuning in. Before we get up out of here, again, we know it's just week one. It is the NBA tip-off. But is there a team so far that we've seen that surprised you? That's just been like, man, okay, I wasn't expecting them to be that good or that bad.
Out. Right, look out. I'm gonna beat the mainstream media to the punch, but look out for the Atlanta Hawks. They're 2-0 so far against good opponents. Trae Young, 74 points, I think, combined first two games, 37 and 36 just last night. Look for him to be an MVP candidate. If they could crack top 5, top 4, that makes some good roster adjustments. That's my sleeper team.
Okay. Well, speaking of the Sixers, I appreciate Christine for checking out the show. Honestly, no hate for the Sixers. I'm more interested to see how the Doc Rivers experiment works in Philly. I don't know. We don't know yet because I'm a person when it comes to Doc. I think we feel the same way it is with Philly with Carson Wentz living on 2017 pass. I think it's the same way with Doc River fans living off of the 2008 success with the Celtics, because after that he's given up 3-1 leads as a head coach, and that's not good looks. And with that being said, I'm just saying, if that was any other coach, they'll want to chop his head off. So with that being said, this is going to be a very, very interesting opportunity for Doc Rivers and the 76ers, because if Doc Rivers can't fix Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, then who can?
Right.
Because it's not like you can keep Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid for another 10, 15 more years. They only have a couple more years of their prime. And Ben Simmons, of course, we know kind of not just injuries, but don't have a consistent shot. Joel Embiid is injury prone as well. So that like I said, that process in Philadelphia, we're trying to see results now, right?
No, definitely trying to see results. And like you said, if it doesn't, they're not trading him this year, because I do like that Sacramento Kings pick. Like you said, they're also...
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. Weezy says, I believe the Sacramento Kings could be quite the underdog that shouldn't be overlooked. I'll be honest with you, with both of y'all. The Sacramento Queens ain't going to do nothing. I know y'all are talking about Sacramento because of De'Aaron Fox. I know Cypress boys love them some De'Aaron Fox. But the Sacramento Kings, they don't do anything for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're the Kings, and that's where players like careers go to tend to die. But they have
Yeah.
good young talent. They have Marvin Bagley, De'Aaron Fox. They got they got some quality
Yeah,
guys.
I'm still waiting for Marvin Bagley to come together, sir. He was hurt all last year.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for all these young guys to come together and form up. We're gonna wait and see another Duke guy.
they're in the West. They're not gonna make the playoffs,
That's what I'm saying. They're in the West, so I mean, it's hard for me to take them seriously when if they win 29 games, that's a good thing for them. You feel me?
I feel that.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like you said, they're in the West, but I feel like they were right there in the mix in bubble contention. To be for the play-in last year, so they're gonna be right there again. So this is one of those teams where like you said, even if they do make the playoffs, what are they? First round exit. But like I said, they're excited.
Oh yeah, easily.
To rally behind. So I do like the pick.
All right. Well, like I said again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in to our first ever Twitch stream. We'll see you guys next week with the NBA. We'll do an NBA weekly recap the same way we do an NFL weekly recap with my boy Ishmael Sirian. And thank you, Jordan. Like I said, you're gonna be my guy, right? Don't leave me.
Yeah.
Don't leave me, Jordan. We need you.
Weekly. Hey, thank you guys.
All right.
Get to know me. Yeah.
All right. Like I said, we'll see you next week, and everybody have a great rest of the day. We'll have Watch Out football on Sunday.
All right.
Already.